Three receivers set for San Francisco. All three timeouts either side. Redfeather can't take a safety. He took a safety. He took a safety. New York's up by 2. Are you kidding me? Luke Johnson. It's 22-20, and now San Francisco.
Mac Wavy Jr.'s up to 312, 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And Wavy Jr. just continues to pile on the numbers. 2nd down and 4 at the 9-yard line for Minneapolis, protecting a 1-point lead here in the first playoff game of the conference semifinals. Touchdown Davis Reed, his 2nd of the night. And Minneapolis is back up by 7. They just won't give it up. 3 in the backfield for Thomas. Kirkland is the lone receiver, bottom of the screen, guarded by Coakley. Back to pass. It's over to Heat Chol this time. Chris can't bring him down. Heat Chol spins away. Park Heat Chol's got a first down. A pickup of 18 yards. What a play from the little dynamo. Chris blew this play up on the last drive, but was slow getting over there. And then Heat Chol makes Delta Coakley look silly. 1st and goal for St. Louis.
Already 2 block punts for Baltimore today. Is there a third? There is! 3 block punts in one game. Are you kidding me? Down at the 14-yard line, and Vegas will take over again.
Special teams, once again, coming up and making big plays.
I don't think we've ever had 3 block punts in one game. I would have to get that from headquarters, but I am almost certain there has not been 3 block punts in one game from the same team.
Carolina gets a walk-off win over the St. Louis Gladiators 35-28, and of course this game now. And the throw down the middle, that's Brett Killian, who's got both arms around the ball. He ran Eric for a touchdown Legion.
There's 2 terms everybody needs to know: seam route and north-south. Boom. Splits them, and he doesn't care how many more yards he's getting. He's not going to fumble.
And Savage will drop the pass. Deep ball down the field. Caught by Capone, and the Vipers can tie the game with an extra point. The drama is real in Cleveland. Tony Capone, the 3rd different Viper receiver with a touchdown catch tonight. It is a 1-point game.
That was how far they had to go. Wilson, doesn't even get any time to set up to throw. Just immediately wrapped up and brought down. That's Saron Yates' 2nd sack of the night.
Takeaway for the Portland Fleet. They came into this one number 1, and they will most likely stay there. And look at Ezekiel Love. He turns on the Jets down the sidelines. He's going to take it all the way to the house for a touchdown.
And he comes flying out of that backfield like he got shot out of a cannon. Instantly, from the second the ball is in his hand, the burst of speed to the outside, and there was no one to catch him. Linebackers, they blinked and they missed him, run 10 yards past him. 22 for Charleston. Josh Reese tries to get to him, but he is outrun by Love. The Jets come on, and he gets the touchdown for Portland.
1:30 to go in the 3rd, still tied at 21. Funk back to pass. Funk hit hard as he threw, wide open down the field. Lawrence Kirkland touchdown. You could hear the hit that Funk took, and Louisville has their first lead of the night.
3rd and 10 at the Fort Worth 47-yard line. This is the spot where they get the completion. Got to get it in field goal range. They need at least a 17-yard pass play here. 4 wide. Looking to throw it. Over the middle. That one's going to be caught. They do get it down to the 31-yard line. That's about as close as they can hope to get. First down with 9 seconds left.
See Davis running the ball either. Marconi to throw. And Marconi's in trouble. Marconi is face planted at the 26. How does that taste? It's Corey Sims with the sack. This guy's having the best debut of a player I've seen in a long time in the SFL. He's got 4 tackles, an interception, and a sack. Corey Sims, can I have your autograph?
Wild Card weekend in the Simulation Football League takes us all the way to Queensway. 2 games down, 2 more to go before we decide the quarterfinals. And tonight in London, it's the London Knights against the Las Vegas Fury. Get ready for some fireworks. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to London in the United Kingdom. Alongside producer extraordinaire Cameron Irvine, our statisticians Justin Ruside and Zach Haldorf, and my partner Cameron Duty, I'm Tim Hackett. You're watching the SFL playoffs presented by APM Music live on YouTube. Happy to have you with us. Welcome to the playoffs, Cameron. It's great to have you on our crew. We're looking forward to a great matchup here tonight.
Hey, thank you, Tim. I certainly appreciate it, and thank you to everybody out there with the SFL crew that's helped all throughout this season, man. It's trying to get to this point. It's, it was a fast year for me learning and getting to learn about these teams, but here we are, playoff time. It's what we look forward to. It's what we, as a football fan, we live for. This is when the slate is wiped clean. Everybody 0-0. And it's time to go out there and make your mark. And I think that's what we're going to see happen today. I'm going to tell you real quick, I think obviously London's offense, high-powered. We know all about it. We've heard all about it. But some key elements I think that if you're a Las Vegas Fury fan or player that you need to take a look at is your all-star cornerback and safeties. Obviously, you've got Day Drury, Merrick Atera at quarterback, cornerback, Shad Allen and Max Jackson at safety. They're going to have to come up with a big play, and we'll see right off the bat exactly what Las Vegas can do, Tim. Great to be with you, my friend.
Likewise, Surf. 2 fantastic offenses on display. Which defense can rise to the challenge and stem the tide long enough to spring one of these teams into the quarterfinals next weekend? Las Vegas, the number 11 seed. They're 7-5. They will get the ball first. London kicks off. They're the number 6 seed at 8-4. So Vegas in the offseason needed a quarterback change. After 3 seasons, Colin Pierce departs the team that drafted him to join the Indianapolis Ramblers. We saw him in action in the playoffs with his new team last night. So Vegas goes out into free agency and gets a new quarterback, Eric Price, who spent his first 3 seasons as the quarterback for Vegas's arch rivals, the Denver Nightwings. And Price's first postseason pass is a beautiful one. Reaching up to make the snag is the veteran tight end John Blades, former number 1 receiver with this team, now their number 1 tight end. He strikes in the postseason and a first down for the Fury.
I think it's safe to say, Tim, that this guy right here is a weapon no matter where you put him on the field, and they're going pretty quick here, so I'll let you get back to that. But, yeah, what a great tempo to start off with.
15 yards from Price to Blades to start off this game. Vegas in the white tops, London wearing your all blacks. Price to throw, hits Blades again, and John Blades with a gain of 9, streaking out as a tight end. You mentioned it, Cameron. I mean, he's a weapon. This guy was a 4-time 1,000-yard receiver as a wideout for Vegas, spent his whole career with this franchise, now in his 10th season, moves over to become the tight end this year to pave the way for a bigger role for Doug Britton, former fullback in this league, now their number 1 wide receiver in this iteration of the offense, and he's been brilliant. First run of the day. Here's Hubba Kimbrell, and Kimbrell is able to lean forward and get the first down for Vegas.
Kimbrell got just enough, but we can thank that offensive line there for giving him just enough leeway to get in and, of course, use those legs to churn. But I really like the tempo. Let's not let London get settled in here. Let's keep them on their toes.
Neither of these defenses have been particularly good this season in terms of points and in yards. Over-under today set at 61.5. They'll run it here. Scott Johnson. This Vegas offense employs a 2 running back system, not uncommon in the SFL these days, Cameron. There were times when it was extremely uncommon, in fact, almost unheard of. Now, there's a good number of teams that do it, though Johnson is really the guy that gets the lion's share of the work.
Indeed, and I think what they can benefit by here is just keep switching it up. Keep London on their toes. You've got 2 very talented running backs who can get the job done.
Here's the heavy set. They will give it to Hubba Kimbrell out of the heavy set, and he's wrenched down from behind after a short gain by Cam Frosby. So here is the offense for Las Vegas, led by head coach and owner John Bond. Eric Price is the quarterback. The tailbacks are Scott Johnson and Hubba Kimbrell. 3 wide receivers, Doug Britton, Mason Kirby, and Prince Wonder. The offensive line features 2 tight ends, John Blades and Jackson Roberts, both of whom have been known to catch passes over the course of this season. First 3rd down for this high-flying Vegas offense. Price steps up, has a man wide open. First down for the Fury. That's Prince Wonder, Vegas's 10th overall pick in the most recent draft, and they'll run hurry up.
Yeah, they will. Like I said, I like this tempo.
Price will toss it out. Johnson out of the backfield, runs the wrong way, tries to throw the stiff arm and gets a couple. Hurry up again.
It's really interesting. I don't think I can recall seeing them do that much this year. But again, you're in the playoffs. You got to see what you can do and make a way for yourself.
On the first drive, no less. And Price's pass is picked off. That will bring this high-flying first drive to a halt right into the hands of Brandon Ewing, 7-season veteran corner. What a way to stop this drive. London comes up with the takeaway.
And just as quick as they were moving down the field, it comes to an end. How about that? Great job right there to just step up by Brandon Ewing. Like you said, 7 seasons in this league, 6'2", 195. And again, we talked about it. I mentioned it on the Vegas side, but also on the London side. Like you said, both these defenses not particularly sharp. It's going to be who comes down to it and can make the big play.
Neither of these defenses particularly sharp, but both of these offenses are great, especially London at the top of the league in points yet again. One of the best offenses in the league. First play of the game for the Knights is a run for Robert Merrill in a gain of 3. Johnny Pickler is this team's quarterback, back for his 4th season playing for London. He's the closest thing this league has to a celebrity, an image that he cultivates, and something he does extremely well. Another thing that he does extremely well is put up points. London tops in the league in points per game and yards per game. They've been excellent ever since Johnny Pickler has joined this team, and they're 8-4 this season. Pickler's first pass of the day is caught. Short gain for London, hit immediately after that catch. Waiting on an ID, that is Fox Highwinds. Back-to-back brilliant seasons for the veteran wideouts.
Indeed, and talking about Pickler there, you're only as good as your supporting cast, and he's got one of the best great receivers and backs. We'll talk about him more as this game goes on, but he's got the weapons to deliver.
No question about it. First third down for London. They've been great in these situations this year, and Vegas was ready for it. Robert Merrill gets decked by Max Jackson, up for a Hall of Fame bid this summer, Cameron, and one of the best safeties in league history.
Yeah, the number speaks for itself, but also it's on plays like that when you need to rise to the occasion. As we've said before, we don't have to tell anybody in this room or watching us, this is playoff football, and you got to come up with a big-time play, and what do? You rely on your all-star, your Hall of Famer to do that.
The number 1 scoring offense in the league gets an interception on their first defensive possession of the game, and they go 3 and out after that. You crunch the numbers in a matchup like this, Cameron, especially when it comes to the playoffs. Like you said, it all comes down to this. You watch film, you look at stats, you talk to players and coaches. The scouting report feels easy to me. London has the number 1 offense in the league. They average 450 yards per game. Vegas has the worst defense in the league. They give up 436 yards per game. It's number 1 against number 28. It feels that easy to me, but somehow I don't think that this game is going to end up that easy as Hubba Kimbrell gets a gain of 2.
I certainly have to agree with you, Tim. I don't feel like it's going to be as easy as it does look on paper, and that's the great thing about football any given Sunday, right? We hear that phrase quite a bit, and that's simply because at any point in any time, a team can find an edge or a team can get a little bit of momentum, and you see it all the time in playoff football. Somebody gets hot, and then a 20-something ranked defense can rise up and look like they're an all-star.
Gain of 1 on the pass for Kimbrell. Here's Scott Johnson with a spin move, and Johnson gets a gain of about 6, and once again, Vegas will run the hurry up. We've already seen the number 12 team beat the number 5 team in these playoffs last night. Can number 11 beat number 6 here today? Here's the run. Johnson cuts back upside and is stopped inches short of the line by Jack Russell. Decision time here for Vegas.
I think if you are Vegas, I think you got to play it safe and go with the punt. They certainly are moving the ball pretty well, I must say, but I think you have to take advantage of possibly pinning your opponent deep in their own territory. That's something that is sometimes hard to come by, and a team like London, you need to make them work for every yard that they can get.
I'm with you on it for sure. We know Vegas is a team that likes to roll the dice. They are based in Las Vegas after all, but they do have one of the best punters in the league, Dustin McRack, and you see what he can do. A brilliant punt, no chance on the return for Terrence Weary, and doing some quick math, that's a net of about 42 yards on the punt.
That's a great punt, like you said. I mean, very efficient, and when you have somebody like that can get those big yards and really set a team up, as we said, deep in their own territory, you got to take advantage of that. And now we'll see how London can respond.
McRack has played 7 seasons in this league before this one. He's made the All-Star game 5 times. Robert Merrill gets the give. Nothing doing for Robert Merrill, who was not only one of the best offensive players in the league last season. He was one of the best players, period, in the league last season. London, went 11-1, the best record in franchise history, and wasn't even close. Both Merrill and London as a team, they both come back down to earth a little bit this season relative to last year. London's 8-4, and they're the number 1 seed last year, but Merrill still had an excellent year. London gets Vegas to jump. Pickler lofts it into coverage, and it's knocked away, but we will see our first penalty of the game. That is Sean Allen on the coverage for the Fury.
You said, I think they're going to get them there on a movement, and I think a lot of that comes down to really a lot of nerves, if we're going to be honest. I mean, as we said, playoff football here, you're anxious, you want to come up and make a play, and you see it very often, how you kind of get the jitters about you, I guess, and there you see it right there. Just a simple mistake, but boy, with a team like London and that offense, it's very hard to think that you gave them any bit of yardage to benefit them.
I think you're onto something for sure, because this is the first postseason game for a lot of these Vegas players, first in a while at the very least. So 2nd and 5, Merrill runs up the middle and gets the first down. There was a time in this league, Cameron, where Robert Merrill was really one of the worst running backs in the league, where London was one of the worst running offenses in the league. He is a former wide receiver, as folks in this league well know by now, so he's not your traditional halfback necessarily, but regardless of that, those days are long gone. Merrill was the number 1 running back last season, getting down to earth a little bit, but still over 1,000 yards for the second straight year, and 17 rushing touchdowns, which led the league. First down for London now from the 29. Offset eye with Merrill in the backfield. Pickler will toss it out to Robert Merrill with a spin, a sidestep, and a first down for Merrill. Across midfield he goes, and that is what he can do as well as anybody in this league, a true dual threat back.
The lead up to that was perfect timing, Kim. I mean, that was just spot on. That shows what he can do. I mean, take a look at this. I mean, the spin move that you just saw at the beginning of that, and we're going to get to look at it right here. Like I said, I say this quite a bit. I mean, he's more efficient than a spin cycle on a washing machine. I mean, that right there was fantastic. He has a great sense of oncoming defenders, and he knows when to make those shifty moves. Very elusive, very hard to bring down, and like you said, he's got quite a resume on him.
25-yard catch and run for Merrill, and Pickler now with the dots over the middle hits Terrence Weary in stride. Back-to-back first downs for London. Here is the offense for the Knights and head coach and owner Liam Crowder, who took back over control last season. Johnny Pickler is the quarterback. Robert Merrill is the tailback. You've heard about both of them already. Rob Noel is the fullback. Wide receivers Terrence Weary, Fox Highwind, and Vin Calia, with tight end Talon Steele. And the offensive line anchored by left tackle Anthony Anderson, Perrin Ibarra, and Demetrius Farmer, as Pickler throws right over the middle again, going for Weary. There were a couple of Fury defenders on him, and it sails incomplete.
Yeah, just a little bit ahead of him, but honestly, that's okay. There was something kind of breaking there. It looked like maybe Weary was about to pull ahead, maybe get a step on those defenders, but that was also, as you said, there was some defenders there for Las Vegas, and, better for that one to just aimlessly fall to the ground and try it again.
No doubt. So 2nd and 10 now for Pickler after the incompletion. 3 wides to the bottom. And Pickler will toss it out to Robert Merrill. This is something that has worked extremely well for London this year. That's a gain of 4 for Merrill. Merrill is 2nd in the league in catches and targets, not among running backs, among all players. 139 catches this season. 2nd in the league. He's had a career high in catches. Even if you go back to his days as a wide receiver, he never caught this many balls. And he's had the 3rd most receiving yards he's ever had, even including the start of his career when he was a wide receiver. So as prolific of a pass catcher as he's ever been, and he starts off a few yards behind the quarterback. 3rd and 6. Pickler, another dot. He was wide open. First down to the 15, and the first catch of the day for Vin Calia, the veteran London Knights, now in his 7th season for the team that drafted him.
What that does, Tim, is when you have somebody just as talented as Robert Merrill who can both run and catch, that's another receiver that you just have to worry about. And then what that does is that draws an attention to him. That gives one of these other receivers, such as Fox Highwind, or in this case, Vin Calia, an opportunity to get free. You just can't cover everybody on that field when they're this stacked.
No doubt. From the 14, first team into the red zone, and Merrill gets decked behind the line of scrimmage. Great hit and a loss of 2 by John Osiris, 4th season outside linebacker.
Yeah, absolutely. You start to look at the momentum that London has been getting here on this drive, moving the ball pretty well. If Las Vegas can come up and make a big time stop here, I think that's a win for them if they can, negate them to a field goal attempt. But still, we've got a long way to go, but this is where they can make some big gains right here.
Vegas brings a couple of extra bodies to the line. They will try to stretch it out for Merrill. Merrill then spins back up the middle and gets a gain of about 3. Quickly here is the Vegas defense for John Bond. On the line, it's Sam Yeager, Anthony Stover, Michael Rury, and A.K. Jones. Linebackers, Maurice Lloyd, John Osiris, and Day Drury. And in the secondary, it's a stacked one. Cornerbacks, Chris Magel and Merrick Itera. Safeties, Justin Reside, Sean Allen, Luke Swift, and Max Jackson. 3rd and 9. Pickler has all day. Going for the end zone and tipped away. Highwind was the target. One-on-one coverage by Chris Magel. And Vegas does get the stop and will force a field goal bid by the Knights.
Yeah, they did. You have to feel good if you're Las Vegas right now. I mean, this high-powered offense, you were able to deny them, as we said, to a field goal attempt. It was a good place game by London. It certainly was. I mean, Pickler there, he had a read on that defender. Looked like he had maybe an opportunity to squeeze that one in there. And then they just Magel come up with a big-time deflection. Playoff football. Everybody's rising to the occasion.
So JT Delaney, who started his career with these London Knights, now back for his second tour of duty, comes on to attempt the field goal, and it is good from 29 yards. Neither of these two place kickers, Delaney and Matt Rage, neither of them were used all that much this season, but neither of them missed a field goal in the regular season. They were a combined 39 of 39, and it is Delaney who gets London on the board first at home.
And that's big, that certainly is, Tim. The fact that you do have those great kickers on reserve. One thing it says about the offense is simply this. I mean, a lot of those drives were scoring drives, big touchdowns. But to know you have them in your back pocket, that's something you may need to use later on with this game.
You mentioned that the playoffs are a time to wipe the slate clean, and Vegas is certainly looking for a clean slate. They're 7-5. They're one of the best teams in the league, but they started off this season looking like one of the very best teams in the league. They were 7-1 to start the season. Their only loss came to these London Knights in Week 3. After that loss, they won 6 in a row, but they finished the season losing 4 straights. So can they right the ship now that the playoffs have started? Here's the first play. Scott Johnson gets the give and nothing doing. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine, Tim. You're exactly right, my friend. I feel like if you're a Las Vegas player, team owner, or just a fan, you're watching this from a fan's perspective, you're sitting there thinking, okay, maybe we've got the bugs worked out. Maybe we've got those losses out of the way. Maybe we can go make a run. I do know that there is concerns, of course, coming in on a 4-game skid, but as you said right here, a chance to wipe the slate clean. And really, you have to go back to the drawing board, and I think we saw some things, some no-huddles, things like that they're trying to do just to get something going, maybe ignite a spark.
Middle linebacker Tony Roberto with that TFL on first down. Price back to pass. Links up with Mason Kirby for the first time today. We haven't seen either of Vegas's top 2 wideouts yet tonight. Mason Kirby and Doug Britton have both had brilliant seasons, both over 1,000 yards. Same can be said for Vegas's top 2 targets, Highwind and Kalia, but Kirby has been a deep threat and a consistent weapon for Vegas for pretty much his whole career.
Indeed, and I think we will hear from him before this game is over. I can't believe the first quarter has already passed, but I think that we will be calling his name out as this game progresses.
Yeah, first quarter's just about over. 1 catch combined for those two, make it 2, as Kirby is out just short of the first down line, they say. Clock stops with 20 seconds, second straight catch for Kirby, and this may be worth another look. There you go.
I believe you're right. Yep. That's exactly right. I was wondering if they were going to call that challenge. You certainly have to. I think at this point, you really can't afford, in my personal opinion, you can't afford to go 2 straight drives out on 4th and inches. If you got a challenge out there and it's this close, there you go. I mean, I think that unless there's something we're just missing, that tells the tale right there. A great challenge. Even more, let's talk about Kirby right there with the toe tap there just to make sure that he was able to stay in bounds and get just enough. I think this is going to be overturned.
And the ruling, wow, I'm with you, KD. I thought for sure that Kirby had that catch past the magic yellow line. As they always say, it's unofficial. but the call stands. Vegas loses the challenge and will lose a timeout. And to your point, for the second straight drive, they will face a 4th and inches, and they're going to punt.
I tell you what, Tim, that was a surprising call there, absolutely. R62 coming in with that call. Like we said, he makes that decision. They got to adhere to it, and then they have to go back into punt formation here. Now you just got to rely on your defense to make a play.
There's Terrence Weary on this return, and not much doing. So we just talked about the punting game for Vegas. It's something that they excel at much better than most other teams in the league because you've got McCrack kicking the ball away. Not every team has a superstar punter like Vegas did. They punted on that last possession. You and I were both in agreement with the decision, and London ends up marching down the field and hitting a field goal. They're going to have better starting field position here than they did on that previous drive. See if London can take advantage of Vegas's reticence to go for it on 4th down for the second straight time. Pickler will throw. Looking this way, and the catch is made. Going out of bounds quickly is Fox Highwind. So second catch of the first quarter for Highwind, who's working on another brilliant season. He had almost the exact same stat line this season as he did last season. It's honestly ridiculous. We'll get more into it as we go along, but he had 5 fewer receiving yards and 1 more touchdown last year compared to this year on the same number of catches. And Highwind, back-to-back brilliant seasons as the number 2 option for Johnny Pickler. We're done with 1 quarter in wildcard game number 3. Low-scoring start. London leads it 3-0. You're watching the SFL playoffs presented by APM Music on YouTube. Welcome back to Queensway alongside Cameron Irvine, Justin Reside, Zach Haldorf, and Cameron Duty. I'm Tim Hackett. Pleased to have you with us. Game 3 of 4 of this wild card weekend in the SFL. Johnny Pickler will toss it out to Robert Merrill. Spin move by Robert Merrill, and stuck after a nice gain at the end of the run by Vegas's number 30, and a gain of about 7 for Merrill. And Sam Yeager was hurt on the play, one of Vegas's defensive linemen, off the ball.
It's really interesting. We had spoken about how he could be an impact player in this today, before we came on the air there. And really unfortunate. Hopefully it's nothing that will keep him out long term, because Vegas is really going to need him to put some pressure on that offensive line right there.
Something that Vegas has struggled with this season already. Now down a starter as Merrill runs up the middle for a gain of 2. Quickly, let's look at the rest of the line. I mean, that's John Osiris, the outside linebacker, with the hits. Yeager with 4 sacks. Vegas, again, not one of the best sacking teams in the league, but London, one of the best at preventing sacks. Johnny Pickler was only sacked 12 times behind this standout offensive line. That was second fewest in the league. Something that's got to change, you would think, for Vegas to have success this time around. Here's the stretch to Merrill, and so much for that thin defensive line. Vegas breaks right through it. And it is one of the new members of this line, Harley Stone, only playing because of the injury to Sam Yeager. He comes in and makes the hit, and it's 4th down.
And you talk about stepping up. I'm going to just, I'm going to beat this topic to the ground, I know, but again, playoff football. You come in, you get an opportunity to play, fill in for somebody very important in this team, and you step up and make a play. You can't ask for more of that. I mean, both of these teams right now, I feel a lot of attrition in this game already. A lot of energy. Both teams, of course, they know what's at stake. And you're just seeing the best of the best by these guys right now. A defensive struggle. We come in talking a little bit about how an offensive shootout that this could be, and they turn right around and 1 quarter down, and we've only got 3 points on the board. It's why I love football. I know it is why you do too, Tim.
Absolutely. You see on the bottom there from Cameron Irvine, under 100 yards of offense in that first quarter and change for these two teams. Not what we were expecting, as Price links up with Mason Kirby for a gain of 12. The pass was a little bit behind him, but Price still able to thread it in there for a first down. It's Yo on the hit for London.
That's a great play formation right there. Watch that little stutter step, and then he just kind of slants right there to the middle of the field. And what that does, that's just enough to give him a little bit of leeway to get that football and then get down before anybody's able to even get to him. So a nice play. That's what you want to see, something really nice and consistent just to get your drive going. Nice job by Price as well on the pass.
Third catch for Kirby. Cameron Irvine telling us not even any targets so far for Doug Britton, as Price gets waylaid by Tony Roberto, just barely able to get that ball off. We mentioned that London is one of the best teams at preventing sacks this season. Not the case for Vegas. They gave up 53 sacks this season, 4.5 per game. That was most in the league. London has the 4th best pass rushing offense. They tallied 40 pass rushing defense, They tallied 40 sacks on defense. 53 sacks suffered by Price, more than in his last 2 seasons in Denver combined. So on second down, they will run it with Hubba Kimbrell, and he has nowhere to go. This London defense ready on back-to-back plays. Cam Frosby is a game wrecker. He's at the head of that pack in a loss of 3.
That's why you saw him voted there to the All-Star team in season 19. 3'10", 6'4". He just has a presence. He's a hard guy to bring down, and he's going to be a threat to get in the backfield every time.
Off his back foot, Price will lay it up for Prince Wonder, who makes the catch. Hit immediately, though, by Brandon Ewing, who had the interception earlier. So second playoff catch for the rookie Prince Wonder, but 3rd and 13, too big of a task for this Vegas offense to overcome.
It was indeed, and once again, here you see 4th and short, and Vegas again having to go to the punt. But, let's talk about that London defense who come up and made a big-time stop, and really that allowed just enough for them to allow to get this ball turned over there.
There's another punt from McCrack. Returnable again for Weary, and a good hit on that return. If you're new to the SFL, it's the Simulation Football League, which combines traditional sports, esports, and a role-playing game all into one. Team strategies are being executed in real time by our simulations as real-life players compete on the virtual gridiron. For more information about the SFL, visit our website at www.simulationfl.net. The SFL, it's football for everyone. For the first time in quite a while, the SFL playoffs are for Vegas, snapping a 3-season schneid. London has been there a lot over the last couple of years. As Pickler going for it all. Vin Calio with the step behind the defense. Only one defender can catch him, and he will not. 77 yards. Pickler to Calio. Touchdown, London.
And that is how long it takes for London to strike. It is something we've seen this entire season. I know we talk about the record not being as shiny as it was the year past, but this team can still do this. And take a look at that. There is no one in the same zip code as Calio. You've got one defender there, Sean Allen, an all-star running down there to get him, but they weren't even on the same playing field. Let's just be honest. Wide open, but London, this team is a team that, as we said, it takes one play for them to be off and running. And just like that, the opportunity to stretch it out now by 10 points. And this team's got to be feeling pretty good, especially with that last play call.
Another brilliant season for Calio playing with Johnny Pickler. Poor snap on this PAT, and Delaney gets hit, but he's still able to knock it through. Calio this season had 1,193 yards, so just missed 1,200 and 12 touchdowns. He was 5th in yards and 3rd in scores. He's played with Johnny Pickler now for 4 seasons, and in 3 of those, he's finished with at least 1,000 yards and with 10 touchdowns. He never had a season with either of those marks before Johnny Pickler became the quarterback for London. So with those two as the top duo for London, this offense has soared to new heights. You throw in what Highwind is able to do. You throw in what Merrill has done the last 2 seasons. This is as good of an offense as exists in this league. There's a great return for Doug Britton. Bit of a cheat code having him still returning kicks, and he will get Vegas out to the 30-yard line. But to your point, KD, you put Vin Calio in this offense as good as he's been with all of those other pieces, with a quarterback with the superlatives of Johnny Pickler, and this offense is excellent.
Oh, they are. And now, Tim, you mentioned Doug Britton there on that return. They need to go to their Vin Calio. Las Vegas needs to go to Britton and start getting him some targets. Just take some chances here.
Price will throw. He goes this way instead, looking for Kirby, and another nice catch for Kirby. That's his 4th of this game already, and that will change up what I was about to say. That pass from Pickler to Calio went for 77 yards. That unofficially was more passing yards than Price had in the game prior to that one, which went for 9. So Price now back ahead of Pickler in that category, but Pickler still with nearly twice as many passing yards all told. Britton still without a target. Number 1 wideout for Vegas there at the top of the screen. And a heavy set for the Fury. They will run it. There's room on this near side and a big hole. First down for Hubba Kimbrell, wrenched down by Anthony Wayo. We wondered, KD, if we might see a little bit more of Hubba Kimbrell in this game, but we have not seen much of Hubba at all this season. He had just 22 carries all year compared to 158 for Scott Johnson. It's a big disparity, but honestly, that's not that many carries for Johnson either. He was 26th in the league in carries among running backs, so this team does not run the ball very much. And so far today, 4 carries for Johnson, 4 for Kimbrell. And Kimbrell has had the much better day so far, and it's not really even close. Fresh set, wide open. Nice pass from Price, and another catch for Prince Wonder. The rookie has his 3rd reception of the game.
You were talking about that 2 running back tandem there, and you are right. It's been difficult for them to get any kind of production there on the running game, and basically Vegas really didn't try. They primarily relied on that passing offense, but now's as good a time as ever to try to get that 2 running back tandem going, and what they could do is open up some passing lanes.
Try to pass it again. Blades gets the catch quickly on a gain of 7. You saw there's an update first and foremost. Sam Yeager questionable to return. Great news for Vegas, though his backup did have that TFL earlier on, but less said about that the better. You saw quickly there at the bottom, 4 carries, 14 yards for Kimbrell, 4 carries, 4 yards so far for Johnson. Both have also made 1 catch. Gain of 3 for Blades. They will run it from Johnson, and Johnson hit from behind, and he loses a couple of yards.
Well, let's be fair. It's really hard to have any sort of running game when there's been 53, I believe you said 53 sacks. Is that right on the season? I mean,
right.
It's difficult when your offensive line is a weak point. You really can't get any kind of momentum, so that does make you have to go to the air more. You can't get a running game generated. That's why we've seen a lot of that this year.
And another hit on Price, right on cue, Cameron. He gets hit as he tries to let go of the ball by William Davidson, who has had a resurgent season, one of the best DNs in the league, top 6, in the league in both sacks and TFLs. Won't get either of those there, but it is a quarterback hit to stop this drive.
It is, and very interesting decision right here to go for the long field goal. But let me point something out. I believe I'm correct on this. 3 straight drives, 5 yards or less to get to the first down, and they've been stopped. Unbelievable what this London defense has done.
We know how good this Vegas offense has been over the course of the season, but they've really not come up in the clutch, and so they will settle for a field goal. No problem for Matt Rage, who's back in this league after a long hiatus. Perfect this season, only 19 attempts, but he made all of them, and he's good now here in the playoffs.
And I think that's big right there. Let's not discredit the fact that, you weren't able to get into the end zone, but still they got some very much needed points on the board before we head into halftime here. That right there could be a spark that could really ignite your team. Just getting some points on the board right there, being able to draw within a touchdown in London, that's a big deal for Vegas. And, who knows what could happen in the second half of this second quarter.
Terrence Weary on this return, and he gets out to the 23. The SFL convention is coming to Cincinnati, Ohio, July 28th through the 30th for Season 21 kickoff weekend. For room reservation details and the weekend schedule, see the Convention Alerts channel in the SFL Discord server. Rooms are going fast, and some have already sold out. Reserve your special group rate today. We'll see you there. We're seeing London in the playoffs yet again. Been there the last 3 seasons. Again, the best record in the league last year, 8-4 this year. So Robert Merrill trying to right the ship, runs outside and gets a gain of about 19. Hit out of bounds by Shad Allen. Robert Merrill starting to cook.
Yeah, Robert Merrill is one of those running backs that the more that you feed him, the better he gets. And we saw that all throughout the league. There's a lot of great running backs that are like that. But, the more that you get a guy like Robert Merrill active, he just really rises to the occasion. But on top of that, he feeds off of that momentum, and I think they're doing a great job right now the way that they're utilizing him. A little in the pass, also in the run, a dual threat, and not enough can be said about just how talented that guy is. There you go.
He gets 19 on his first play, and now they will give it to him again, and he gets 7 on the second play of this drive. I mean, a dual threat, I think, is the perfect way to describe him, Cameron. He took the league by storm last year. I got to see him in person a couple of times, and 200 total yard games, 250 total yard games were really not. It was not a surprise to see him do something like that. And in these two teams' earlier meeting this season, he almost did it then, too. 198 total yards, just missing that 200-yard mark, and 4 total touchdowns in that meeting. And this will knock him back. Great pressure by the Vegas defense. A loss of a couple that time against Merrill. Hit at the line by Maurice Lloyd, off-season pickup, veteran middle linebacker.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe John Osiris was also in on that as well. That's one thing, as you talked about there with Merrill, you talk about getting to see that in person. When you get to call a game, he looks that much quicker than even what he does in highlight reels, correct? I mean, just so shifty. The speed really is surprising.
3rd and 5 for Pickler, and another dime for Johnny Pickler. London moves the sticks. It's Highwind on the grab. First down, London.
So many weapons. I mean, here we are. 1 minute we're talking about Merrill. The next minute we're talking about Highwind. Next minute we're talking about Vincalia. And that's just what London is truly known for. Stacked is the word that comes to mind with that. And as we said, when you have that many options to choose from, boy, it's a hard job to take them down. And they're putting on a clinic right now offensively.
Question about it. 3rd catch for Highwind and another first down. Pickler will toss it out. Merrill just dropped it. Not something that happens very often. Again, former wide receiver in this league. He's caught all but maybe 4 targets sent his way this season, and a rare straight-up drop for Merrill on first down.
Yeah, a rarity indeed, and maybe he felt the pressure coming just a little bit there, took his eyes off the ball just enough to look upfield to see if maybe he can make one of those shifty moves that he's known for, and just drop that one. But again, that tells you a little bit about this league too, man. A lot of good players out there, but anybody can make a mistake.
Final 4 minutes of the first half. Deep drop from Pickler, going deep, wide open. Highwind, touchdown, London. Pickler strikes again, and it's his number 2 target on the receiving end this time.
Well, check Chris Magel right there, the cornerback for the Vegas Fury, because I'm afraid that he may have some charbroiled marks on him because, I mean, he got grilled. I don't know what happened there, but just totally burnt on that coverage. I mean, well done, unfortunately. If you want to talk about getting burned on coverage, it was the same thing we saw earlier, Tim. I mean, just bad blown coverage right there, and London taking advantage of it.
No one in the league allowed more passing yards this season than Vegas. They were dead last in passing yards, dead last in total yards. This comes after season 19, where they were second to last in both passing yards and total yards. So over the offseason, they actually got worse in those two metrics. And so far today, they've been burned for a 77-yard touchdown and now a 41-yard touchdown to Kalia and Highwind. And Pickler is over 200 passing yards in the first half.
And absolutely grilled that pass defense. So if I'm the defensive coordinator right there, man, I have to be, my face is probably pretty red and maybe some steam's coming out of my ears. You just can't let a guy get that open because they will burn you every single time.
Highwind and Kalia combined for 21 receiving touchdowns in the regular season. Pickler threw 32, which was tied for second in the league, tied with the quarterback who's about to get the ball right now, Eric Price. So both of those two guys threw for a ton of touchdowns. They both threw for a good number of interceptions. Pickler threw 30, Price threw 38, which was the second most in the league. So even though they threw for the same number of touchdowns, Pickler's quarterback rating was 20 points higher than Eric Price's was this season, and Pickler's was second best in the league. And a much better start for him here as Price throws right into traffic. That could have been picked. Tony Roberto has had a brilliant first half.
That's one of those things where if you're Las Vegas, you really talk about getting the luck of the dice there. I mean, it's 1,000 wonders that wasn't picked. I really don't know how it wasn't. And I guess he just happened to see the ball right there just kind of coming in and just got his hand up, just enough to swat it down. But, man, that could have went the other way. So they got a little lucky on that one. That was Tony Roberto there coming in on that deflection. But now, if you're Las Vegas, you have 3:36 left. You need to get a score before halftime. Definitely try to control this clock if you can, and just put a methodical drive together. Get some points before you end this half.
Still nothing for Doug Britton, Vegas's #1 wideouts. Price will loft it up, and Johnson makes the catch as he dives out of bounds, he will lose a yard. And that's just something that I see quite a bit in this league, Cameron, and I can't explain it. I mean, the quarterback just puts their tailback in a terrible position, and there's no way to succeed on a play like that.
Led him far too far over there to the sidelines. He didn't even have an opportunity to turn upfield had he been able to, wrangle that inbounds. Yeah, they got to clean that up.
3rd and 11. Vegas has been dismal in these opportunities today. So much for that. A dot from Price to Prince Wonder. The rookie makes his 4th catch of the first half. Comes up clutch on 3rd and long.
Prince Wonder really has been a wonder, honestly, this season, a high spot for this offense. And you see right there, making a great play, cutting across the middle. That was a really good play design. I have to commend them for going more to the middle of the field than looking towards the sidelines, as they had done on the past couple of pass attempts. I think that may be where you want to look at, because right now they've got the sidelines pretty well locked down, London's defense, that is.
Gain of 15 on 3rd and 11 for Wonder. So another first down for Vegas. Price lofts it up. It's Kirby on the catch, leans forward, and is pushed out about a yard short. Not the first time today that we've seen Mason Kirby come close to a first down. They will say he is short once again. Mike Jones on the hit for London, off-season pickup from Queen City.
Boy, how big is it? Could it be? I like to kind of think about scenarios and a long way to go there, but just how big that 4th down where they didn't get the overturn on that call, how big that could be in this thing. I mean, I keep thinking about things like that, missed opportunity, and that could be one of them.
Here's another potential missed opportunity. Kimbrell gets the give, wrenched down for a no gain, really, by William Davidson, who's, again, had a brilliant season. And, they say, shows what I know, they gave him the first down.
Yeah, they did. Boy, this has been a game of inches for Las Vegas, hasn't it? I mean, a couple of times they've been on the bad side of things, but right there they get a good spot and a fresh set of downs.
I thought it was going to be a TFL for one of the best at that category in the league. Not so. Another catch by Wonder right at the 2-minute warning. The price is right on that throw, and a first down for the Fury as we hit the 2-minute warning. London on top of Las Vegas, 17-3. You're watching the SFL playoffs presented by APM Music on YouTube. Happy to have you with us. Tim Hackett and Cameron Duty here with you from Queensway. London trying to advance in the playoffs for the 2nd straight season and move on for a heavyweight battle in the quarterfinals. Price out to Scott Johnson, who was trying to change that gain of 6. Quickly, here is the defense for Liam Crowder's London Knights. On the line, William Davidson, Selwyn Lane, Frank Stackhouse, and Cam Frosby. Linebackers, Tony Roberto, Jacob Creech, and Telemax Scarborough. Cornerbacks, Brandon Ewing, Emmanuel Blackman, and Mike Jones. With safeties, Anthony Wayo and Jack Russell. Russell's the team leader in tackles with 103, but that would rank him 5th on Las Vegas, the number 1 tackling team in the league. Johnson now running left side and hit right on the line. Good hit immediately by Jacob Creech, who was London's first-round pick in the most recent drafts.
I got to give them credit for wanting to try to get that run game involved here. I must say, though, I think that running more lateral instead of trying to go from side to side might be better, because they've not been able to stretch it really out.
Down for Price, finds Mason Kirby right through the hands of a defender inside the 20, first down Vegas.
Yeah, and going with that no huddle, which we saw earlier in this game, coming back to it now.
On their first drive, no less. Price, another completion to Prince Wonder. Gain of 11 for the rookie. It's 1st and goal.
Just keep that tempo going. Keep them on their heels. You got something going. Now try to utilize it. Take a shot for the end zone.
Britain's got one-on-one at the top. Instead, Price will go towards the bottom, and that is Wonder again on the catch. Stopped at the 3-yard line, gain of 6. Right back to the line they go. 30 seconds left in the first half. Price will snap it. Looking to the back of the end zone and sails it too high. Wonder was there. Great coverage all around, pressured by Selwyn Lane, and Vegas will have the opportunity to breathe a little bit.
You called it right there, Tim. It's exactly what it was. Great coverage, great pressure. Maybe if Price had another moment or two just to kind of plant his feet, that might have been a touchdown. But because of the pressure that was initiated by London right there, that one sails just a little high, and now the crowd rises to their feet.
Is this an opportunity for Price to get it to one of his top 2 targets? Kirby at the bottom, Britton at the top. He will go for Kirby, and Mason Kirby with a step inside. Price to Kirby once again. Vegas into the end zone for the first time in the playoffs. We've got ourselves a ball game.
That we do. And let's give credit to Eric Price right there. First off, let's give credit to the offensive line. They held just enough for him to make his drop and then to make his read as he was able to see his receiver coming across on what was a very nice route pattern. I have to say, we saw them work that in a couple of times. I think they knew what they were doing. They were trying to see if they had something there, maybe a bite on that inside on that cut route, and there they did. So on the board, Las Vegas showing that they are to not be denied. They're going to make a run for this for sure.
Impressive 4-minute drive for Vegas. Remember, they're missing a timeout because of that questionable failed challenge earlier on in this half that you mentioned, Cameron. So they didn't have to use any timeouts because they went right back to the hurry-up, and it worked wonders. 13 plays, 77 yards. They only ran it twice, got 2 yards on those 2 run plays. Everything else was passes from Eric Price, mostly to Mason Kirby and Prince Wonder, and it worked for Vegas' first score of the game.
Indeed, and like you said, first touchdown for Eric Price in the postseason for his career. So that's a big mark right there, and a great job on a great drive.
Great call, absolutely. 3 years in Denver, no playoff berth, so Price moves to join his arch rival in the offseason, makes the playoffs for the first time. Vegas had to hold on, losing their last 4 games of the regular season. Even with 7 wins, no longer a guarantee to make the playoffs in this league. There are so many good teams now more than ever, but Vegas did get in as the number 11 seed, and even though they haven't won in about a month of real time, they are a tough outs if this offense can get cooking, which London now knows. Lead trimmed to 7. They've still got all 3 timeouts, but only 16 seconds. We know that Merrill can make things happen. He will get blown up. So much for that. What a hit immediately by Merrick Itera.
Itera was just quite simply a terror right there, wasn't he? I mean, just coming in to level Merrill, and that's going to do it for the half. They just decided to run it out there. I can't say how important, though, for Las Vegas that 2-minute drive was. That was really a thing of beauty, not really giving London any time to really go back down the field.
Offense is heating up. 4 scoring drives to close the half before that last play that you can kind of discount. We figured we might see some offense in this game, Cameron. End of the first half, London leads Vegas 17-10 here in the wild card round. And finally, after a first quarter where there were 3 combined points, offenses heat up for a little bit. 2 combined touchdowns for both teams.
Tim, we had talked about it. We knew that it was going to happen. We knew that at some point in time that both of these teams was going to heat up, and that they did. As you said, we went into quarter number 2 with just 3 points. It didn't last that way for long because London began to get cooking, as you see on the highlights right here. Beautiful stuff by Merrill, and then, of course, the big passes to Vin Calya there, and as we take a look at this deep bomb right here. I mean, just fantastic. London has done a fantastic job today with their offense, as we expected them to do. It took them a little bit longer to get into it than what maybe we thought that they would have. Vegas, on the other hand, a little more methodical. It took them a little bit longer to warm up. We do know that there was a couple of 4th downs that were very close that could have went the other way, but they just got stifled. And so they kind of had to dig back out of a hole. But that last drive right there at the very end of that, at that second quarter with Price completing a beautiful touchdown pass right there. That really changed the complexion of this game, and it sets us up for a fantastic second half, Tim.
When these 2 teams matched up in week 3, it was all London early. The Knights went up to a 21-0 lead after the first quarter. Vegas was able to right the ship a little bit in the second quarter. They got back to within 28-17 at the half, but it was all London, and the Knights never trailed. Ended up winning that game by 17, one of their few wins by 17 or more points this season. Then Vegas flipped the switch after that early season loss. They then reeled off 6 straight wins, but they did not win a game after those 6 straight wins. They lost their last 4, including a lopsided loss at Arizona last week, avenging a loss by the Scorpions to Las Vegas in week 6. And if Las Vegas is able to rally and win this game, guess who waits for them in the quarterfinal round? It would be round 3 against Arizona, one of the best teams in the league. That's what would happen if Vegas is able to win here. They trail by 7 as we start the second half. Welcome back to Queensway. Tim Hackett and Cameron Duty in the booth. Justin Reside, Zach Haldorf in the truck. Cameron Irvine working hard behind the scenes. Happy to have you with us. One more playoff game, one more wild card round game, a lot more playoff games, but one more wild card game still to come later on tonight with Chad Rowland and Josh Circle. Tulsa against Carolina first home playoff game in Carolina Skyhawks history coming your way at 9 o'clock Eastern time. First play of the second half, Pickler's pass hits a defender in the back, going for Kalia, and we'll see a flag, only our second penalty of the game.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're going to get a little bit of interference on that. And look like that tackle came about the time that the ball was delivered there.
Looks like you're right. It will be pass interference against Vegas. Dade Drury, who's had a killer season, the veteran outside linebacker. One of the best seasons of his career this season, and second penalty of the game, both against the Fury.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I guess it's been kind of a low penalty game. Both of those, though, being on Las Vegas, and boy, I tell you, both being on the defensive side, which, as we said, London is big on taking advantage of situations. So once again, right here, fresh set of downs, coming off of a penalty there. Going to be interesting to see if they decide to go for something deep or they try to be a little conservative.
Gone deep twice to great results. Both big touchdown passes from Pickler to Highland and Kalia. And there's a little bit of a shorter pass, but still a dime thrown by Johnny Pickler. First catch today for Talon Steele. Off-season pickup, spent last season with the Houston Headhunters, and he's had the best season of his career. 41 catches for 580 yards and 3 touchdowns. He averages 14 yards per catch. In fact, all 4 of Pickler's top pass catchers, the 3 wideouts in Steele, they all average better than 14 yards per catch, which is crazy. Second down, here's Merrill. Spin for Robert Merrill, and he breaks to the outside. Down the sideline he goes. Great tackle from behind, stopping an even bigger play by Maurice Lloyd. And Robert Merrill in space is a dangerous sight for opposing defenses.
Yeah, a dangerous man indeed. Let's take a look at the replay here. A great blocking, of course. And there, again, another one of those patented spin moves. And then he's off to the races. When he gets to the outside like that and you have to trail him down from behind, it becomes a totally different task. It's one thing to meet him head on, but when you have to try to catch up with him, boy, that's a tough obstacle, and got a lot of good yardage out of that.
19 yards on the ground there for Merrill. Close to 100 all-purpose yards to start off this game. From across midfield, Pickler's going to run. We don't see this very often out of Johnny Pickler in his career, and he's able to dive forward and get a gain of about 4. It's Anthony Stover on the hit, had that offside penalty earlier, and Johnny Pickler with a nice run.
Kind of interesting there. Obviously, I don't believe that was anything that was blown. I think that was just kind of a designed route to see if there was anything up the middle. Kind of a gutsy call by London, putting him out there like that.
No doubts. Pickler takes advantage. More traditional play this time. Merrill gets a couple. Stover again on the hit. And when these two teams played in week 3, Merrill had 198 total yards, 4 total touchdowns. Talon Steele, who we just saw a minute ago, 4 catches for 115 yards and a touchdown. On the other side, Britton and Kirby combined for 17 catches, 251 yards, and 2 touchdowns, so doing their part to help Vegas rally from an early hole. So far today, Kirby 1 touchdown, Britton 0 targets. Empty backfield for Pickler on 3rd and 5. London's been great on this season. Pickler's pass behind an official and caught by Vin Kalia. He's over 100 yards as somehow Pickler threads that through.
What does that tell you about the confidence that London has in this team right now, that you go completely all out for the pass, no backs? You're just sending everybody out for a pass on that 3rd and 5. You know the weapons that you have, and you know that the options to convert are pretty daggone good, and that's exactly what we've seen right there. Just a really bold play design, but now it worked like a charm.
Pickler, flawless passer rating so far, 158.3. Merrill breaks through the first hit, somehow gets 9. Wrenched down eventually by rookie Jacob Creech, but what a run for Robert Merrill.
And you're starting to see that energy, as we have saw on a couple of those other drives, that begins to generate for London when you begin to get those big-time receptions, and then you get Merrill, churning the legs and gaining momentum, and it's so hard to be denied when they get in this form that they're in at the moment.
London in the red zone to start the second half. Vegas jumps offside, so Merrill hit in the backfield. Another would-be TFL for Max Jackson, who's had a brilliant season, 2nd in the league in tackles in the regular year. This one isn't going to count. Yep, offside against Vegas. Second penalty of this drive for the Fury.
Yeah, you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot. I mean, you're already coming in here with and you're playing a monster of a team. And you've done a good job so far of trying to limit them and try to stay in this game. But now penalties breed penalties. We do know that. And unfortunately, penalties also breed big-time scoring plays.
3 5 yards, so first and goal now for London from the 6. Pickler will throw right to the goal line, swatted away. That's Osiris on the coverage. Sorry, Cameron.
That's right. Yep. No, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, that was Osiris coming up there. The 4-season man right there coming in, his third with the team, and just making a really nice play because they had the weapons there. If he hadn't got to that one, that could have easily ended up in a touchdown. So a good job, great awareness just to swat the ball down.
We had one pass breakup in the regular season. Well, welcome to the postseason. He gets a pass breakup here. Second and goal now from the 6. Merrill, spin move, hit, and what's the call? The call's touchdown. Robert Merrill has arrived in the postseason, his first score of the day. London has its third straight scoring drive, and the Knights extend the lead.
We've talked about him all day, and it was just a matter of time before he was able to get a run there across the goal line. And right there, that's close. I was wondering. Yep, there we go. Las Vegas thinking the same thing. Their second challenge of the night. We'll see which way that goes. But, yeah, I believe he could have very well been just a little bit short on that. We'll have to take a look at the replay, Tim.
You and I are both 0 for, and so is John Bond in challenges in this game so far. Look, my hit rate on these in my career is atrocious, so I'm curious what you see here on this one.
That angle right there looked like he may have come across right there. The ball maybe crossed the pylon. We'll see what R62 says.
And they will overturn it, so Vegas is going to win this challenge. Merrill will be kept off the scoreboard, at least for now, and I think they got this one right.
Yeah, that's right. Now, isn't that amazing? What a challenge. Taking a look at something from a couple different angles, how it can look so entirely different. They had me second-guessing myself right there for a moment.
Do they go right back to him on 3rd and goal now is the question. They will. Merrill is hit from behind. What a change of events. Vegas comes through with the hit. It's Michael Rory. He was drafted in the first round last season, and he felt like he was destined for this team. Rory to the Fury was all of the post-draft hype. Had a nice season last year as a rookie. Kind of a quiet season as a sophomore, but big-time TFL on 3rd and goal, and that will drop London to attempt a field goal. JT Delaney didn't miss one in the regular season, put a lot of air under that one and still nails it, so he's perfect. It is still 3 straight scoring drives for London if you exclude that last drive of the first half where they were only able to possess the ball for 1 play. I think you can toss that out. So 3 straight scoring drives really for London, but they have to settle for 3.
Let's go back to Michael Rory there, and the play that he did make, Tim, because let's highlight that play. That could be significant there that they were able to extend their lead now only to 10 instead of a full, getting a full touchdown there. That challenge and then that TFL, it'll be interesting to see what that does in the grand scheme of things if Las Vegas can stay in this game. But that right there shows Las Vegas showed up to play. They're gonna call the challenges when they think they need to, and their players are really doing a nice job, and now their offense just has to do the same. Get Doug Britton involved in this game if possible.
It's stunning to me that we haven't seen him do anything offensively in this game. He's been returning kicks all day, obviously, but still hasn't even seen a target and won't see one here. Here's Scott Johnson with a sidestep and a gain of 8. Best run of the game, bar none, for Scott Johnson, who was a standout in the first season of the minor leagues with the Indianapolis Navigators at about 650 rushing yards that season. And that's about as many as he had this season in 12 games as a pro. So Vegas has been trying a lot of new things. They've got a brand new quarterback and a different looking offense with Britton as the number 1 instead of Blades, but they still have not been able to get Johnson to become that number 1 running back that many imagined he would be out of the draft, as Johnson gets this catch and he's wrenched down by about 4 London Knights, ends up losing 1 after making the catch.
Oh, and you see the frustration right there on the sidelines as he pounds the ground as he was getting up from that one. Yeah, just nothing there, completely stifled. And one of the things, Tim, that I have been able to pick up on just watching this game is that this screen game that they've went to, it's not working. I think you need to take some shots. Like I said, you got Doug Britton. Give him a chance to go up and make something happen.
They'll try to run it on 3rd and 3. Johnson gets the give and gets maybe 2. Another tackle for Jacob Creech, who stepped up over the last couple of quarters, and it's going to be another 4th and short for Vegas. Can they afford to punt it again?
Probably not afford to, but I think they're going to have to. You run the risk of certainly allowing London, whose offense is already hot, putting up more points on you. But again, you don't want to let them have, a field advantage right there at the 35 either.
This is the third time that McCrack has punted from almost this exact same spot on 4th and 1 or shorter. And there's not much on this return for Terrence Weary, so the special team's doing its job for Vegas, and McCrack has had a solid game, of course, as always, as the punter. But I'm usually a bit of a conservative coach, Cameron. I don't like to go for it on 4th and down, that early in the game. But you're getting in the late stages and you're down 2 scores. And if London scores here, then this game may be out of reach.
I have to agree with you. You're right on that as well. I just believe that just how talented this team is, if you give them that short a field, you're pretty much ending your game. But we'll see what happens.
100% with you. That's the other side of the coin, right? As Merrill gets 5. If you go for it on 4th and you fail, then you give London the ball inside the 40, and at that point it feels like a done deal that they're going to score.
Indeed, and if maybe they had been able to convert something earlier in this game, then you look at that. But as we said, there's been a ton of 3rd and shorts and 4th and shorts that just there was nothing there. And so I guess you have to do, maybe, in my opinion, do the more conservative thing, even though it certainly hurts, that's for sure.
Playing the long game for now, at least for Vegas. Pickler's going to go deep, so much for that. Check that, it's Talon Steele on the catch, and Steele is going to get London inside enemy territory on just 2 plays anyway. Career season for the veteran tight end, over 500 receiving yards this year for the first time in his career. Had a big game against Vegas when these 2 teams matched up earlier this season. He's had a big day today.
A big day today. And again, I give him credit right there for turning around and being able to kind of adjust to that football. A really nice job in stride there, getting that pass from Pickler. But yeah, they have looked so good, a well-oiled machine. And I tell you what, if you look like you may be needing to face them or having to face them coming up, you got a lot of concern right there, I believe. I mean, this offense looks great.
Great hit, though, by Vegas defensively. Pickler goes down the depth chart, looks for Bryce Carter. That's his first target of the day. And great hit. We see the coverage again. Nothing doing on 1st down for London.
No, good job right there by Las Vegas. Again, this is a team whose defense, I mean, that was the thing that I circled when we came into this game talking about it. Could the Vegas defense keep up with the London offense? We mentioned some notes and some stats that we felt that could help us to do that. They've certainly did a good job. At times they've had some blown coverage. They've also come up with some big-time stops. So all around, they're really giving their all in all. It's just tough against the team this talented.
Reside on the hit, breaking it up for the Las Vegas defense. There's about 5 spin moves for Robert Merrill. He gets 3. And speaking of Justin Reside, I want to take the time to shout out. You just saw the official stats at the bottom of the screen. Give you a look behind the curtain here in the SFL. We also get unofficial live stats, if you will, from our stat team, which is Justin Reside and Zach Holdorf today. They have Johnny Pickler's numbers exactly perfectly. The numbers that I'm seeing on my computer were the exact same that you just saw at the bottom of your screen coming in from the official game. So they're 100% perfect. Great job, guys. 3rd and 7. Pickler's going to go deep. High pointing it is Highwind. He makes the catch over top of Chris Magel, and London's got a 1st and goal.
That was a thing of beauty. And you can't even say that the coverage was bad on that. I mean, he was right there with him. Simply Fox Highwind just knows how to adjust his body to stretch over the defender to make that big play. That right there is what I was hoping we would have saw Las Vegas do with Doug Britton. Give him some opportunities to make those top plays. We haven't seen it yet. London, though, not afraid to just throw the ball up there and see if they can get these talented receivers to come down with it.
19 yards on the catch for Highwind. Here goes Merrill running left tackle. Merrill hits at about the 3-yard line by Day Drury. So Highwind now unofficially with 91 receiving yards and a touchdown. Kalia officially 103 receiving yards and a touchdown. Merrill has done his thing. He had his touchdown overturned, but he still had a solid day. And Pickler, a nearly perfect quarterback rating at 150 flats, only 5 incompletions and 2 scores. Clock running here in the 3rd. Pickler's going to throw. Here's Merrill. Running room for Robert Merrill. Easy does it. That one's going to count. Robert Merrill on the board in the postseason. That's 4 straight scoring drives for London, and the Knights extend the lead even further.
Yeah, Maurice Lloyd was the only one who looked to maybe have a read on Merrill, and it just wasn't enough, not able to come across to make that stop before he crossed into the end zone. A really great job again by Merrill. This is the thing, utilization. We've talked about it. How many adjectives are they really? Multi-talented, diverse. We've said so many things about Robert Merrill and just what he can do. And again, you're just seeing it on display right there. Now that he's entered this playoffs, and this playoff talk, primed to make a good run of it. I do believe he's certainly doing everything he can to get his team over the top.
T from JT Delaney is up and good. 3 different receivers now with touchdown catches from Johnny Pickler, who has had a brilliant game. I mean, Johnny Pickler is arguably the most famous person in the SFL, Cameron, and that's something that he has cultivated and something that he has cultivated extremely well ever since he was a number 1 overall pick early on in the SFL's draft days, and now this is his 3rd team. He's had some controversy in his career, all that stuff, but since he's been here in London, he has been nothing short of sensational. The problem for Pickler is that in the playoffs, and he's been in the playoffs a lot, even in his past stops, he's not been very good in the playoffs in his career. So far in his career, he's thrown 16 touchdowns, 30 interceptions in his postseason career, but so far today, 3 touchdowns, no picks. He's been nearly perfect.
I think that's the thing about playoff football that we've talked about. As I said early, you can wipe the slate clean, and the only thing that matters is that game in front of you. He knows that, and he's ready to write a new story, and this first chapter has been pretty impressive.
Here's Hubba Kimbrell on the stretch run, and outside he goes. That's a nice run for Hubba Kimbrell. Again, he had just 22 carries in 12 games in the regular season. That's his 6th run of the night.
That was easily the best that we have seen. And a good job right there. Again, reading the blocks, getting to the outside, and doing a nice job to pick up a much-needed first down. This is very important, Tim. It just really is for Las Vegas. If you want to have an opportunity to step up in this, to keep this thing competitive and really keep your shot at advancing alive, keep the hopes alive, a scoring play here is needed. And let me say it for about the millionth time, look for Doug Britton.
Price might be going that way. Instead, he goes back to the other side, going for Kirby. Sidearm sling for Price. Nothing doing there. It's 2nd down. I mean, you figured that Vegas was going to need to get into a shootout with London to have a chance to win this game. I thought for sure we would see a lot of offense. So far we have. I mean, 37 points is certainly nothing to scoff at. The over-under was set at 61.5. These 2 teams combined for 79 points when they matched up earlier this year, and over 1,000 total yards of offense. I figured we might see something quite like that. So far, close, but Vegas hasn't really done its part to keep things close. As Price's pass is tipped, dropped, and then nearly picked off. Jackson Roberts, number 2 tight end, was the target, and Emmanuel Blackman ends up with the coverage, and it's 3rd down again.
I think that you're beginning to see this London team just wear down this Vegas offense. No, we've not seen the shootout like we maybe thought that we would have, and I'm quite surprised at that. My thing is, at what point do you have to take a shot, and I don't feel like we've seen that yet.
Got to be now on 3rd and 10. 2 minutes left, you're down 17. This was the final margin in the Week 3 matchup. Can't let it get out of hand. Price off his back foot, throws across his body, and completes the pass to Marion Cabretti, wide receiver number 4. So Cabretti gets a catch before Britton does, and either way, a clutch first down from Price. It looked like he had nothing on, and he gets Vegas across midfield.
No, that was a really impressive throw right back across his body. A football fundamentalist will tell you to not do that, but sometimes you have to. You got to go where you see the open man, and that's exactly what happened there. A nice job.
19 yards on the catch and run for Marion Cabretti. Rev him up as Price lofts it out to Scott Johnson, and a nice catch and run for Johnson. Give him 9. I mean, we've been saying give it to Doug Britton all afternoon, it feels like, Katie, and for good reason. He had 88 catches for 1,316 yards and 12 touchdowns. He was 3rd in the SFL in both receiving yards and receiving touchdowns. He had more catches, yards, touchdowns, and targets this season than in the last 2 seasons combined in his new featured role. And so far, they haven't looked this way once. Hubba Kimbrell gets thrown down, absolutely smacked for a loss of 4 by Frank Stackhouse.
That was impressive right there. Stackhouse just coming in and leveling him. You go back to your point about Britain right there. It is so interesting. I'm still honestly surprised because, as you said, you have target like that. Even if they may be locking him down on coverage, I think you give your wide receivers an opportunity to just go up for it.
He gives Mason Kirby that opportunity instead, and once again we see him go Kirby's way on third down. Kirby makes the catch, but he's short. Once again, this is the third time that we've seen this. There's not going to be any challenge needed this time. He's well short.
Yeah, well short indeed. And again, what does that do? That brings you to another 4th and short, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do here. Exactly, you got to go for it.
I'm with you. So Vegas will bring this offense back out here, needing to stay in the game. Is it the old bait and switch? 20 seconds left in the quarter. And here's the timeout for Vegas. So all that for nothing, really, for the Fury. And, I mean, it's too far for Rage to attempt a field goal. So what do you do here?
In my opinion, there's no other choice. You are down by 17 points to one of the highest obviously the top offense in the league. And you see them having a discussion over there on the sidelines. This right here, though, you're talking about being aggressive. I think this is a no-brainer. You got to go for it. We're not going to see them do that. But, man, right there, I think you had to pull that trigger. It's time to stop being conservative. You got to do it.
I'm with you. I mean, you were right on it earlier when they decided to punt on 4th and 1 from their own 36, but from the London 36, down by 17, bodies go flying on this punt as McCrack angles it out nicely. It's a net of just 25, so that's going to torpedo his average, but London will start from the 11. It's their worst field position of the game that I can think of. They started at the 14 one time, as I recall, but I mean, so success there for Vegas, but at what cost?
Exactly. I mean, I think that's a play that you and I would sit there at the end of this game and probably kind of scratch our head on a little bit, the fact that they didn't go for it on 4th, because now you just turn it over to a team that can do this.
Robert Merrill certainly can. A gain of 13 on a stretch run, and that is how this third quarter will end. It has been all nights in the third quarter, just like it was in the first meeting between these two teams. London 11 minutes away from the quarterfinals. This is the SFL wildcard round presented by APM Music, live on YouTube. When these two teams matched up in week 3, London outscored Vegas 21-0 in the first quarter and 10-0 in the third quarter. So far today in the first and third quarters, outscored them 13-0. And it's a 17-point lead. Welcome back to Queensway. Robert Merrill gets the give. Gain of just 1 that time for Robert Merrill. Tim Hackett and Cameron Duty in the booth. Justin Reside and Zach Haldorf in the truck. Cameron Irvine in the studio. 1 more game still to come. Chad Rowland and Josh Circle on deck from Raleigh, North Carolina, hosting a playoff game for a team not called the Hurricanes for the first time in I don't know how long, and the first time in Carolina Skyhawks history later on tonight. Johnny Pickler's pass. Well, we've sung Johnny Pickler's praises in this game, KD, and that was a pass to nobody. It's third down.
Yeah, every now and then, I guess you're allowed to make one of those, right?
you get a mulligan, right?
Yeah, you get a mulligan, especially when you've hit the deep targets like he has this entire game long. But no, I keep thinking about Tim as we were talking about, and Cameron Irvine passed along a good point there. It could be they're wanting to protect their quarterback. 0 sacks for London after Vegas gave up 10+ back-to-back weeks. I certainly understand that, but man, I just go back to.
There's a deep bomb. They're trying to go deep again, KD. They were looking for high winds. Pickler was going for high wind once again. That's worked time and again in this game, but Vegas really locks it down on third down. That's a critical stop for this Fury team.
Yeah, and if Jackson for the Fury there had a chance to come up with that interception, that could have been big. But back to the point that I was saying there, I expected to see Vegas throw it up more like we have watched London do. And we just simply haven't seen it today. Like you said, maybe for trying to protect the quarterback, but they haven't been able to get anything out of it. Ooh.
Nearly didn't protect Shane O'Donnell, the punter. Vegas nearly gets a hand on it. So Doug Britton, with one of his only chances to even touch the ball, decent return here on the punt. Liam Crowder passing along this note. He's the head coach and the owner of London. I'm actually mad that I didn't think of this pun first. It feels like Doug Britton was born to play in this game. We're in the UK. We're in Britain, for crying out loud. And still Doug Britton hasn't even been given a single target by Eric Price and John Bond. Like, if he's not going to go off in London, then when's he going to do it? But he's still got 10 minutes left to make an impact in the offense, and feels like Vegas is going to need him to do something to have a chance. Down 17. Scott Johnson running outside and limited to a gain of about 2.
Britain. I mean, pretty much the T-shirt sells itself, right, Tim? Marketing ploy right there. It would have been fantastic, but unfortunately, it hasn't been a very pleasant trip to Britain for Doug Britton. And again, Tim, I'm surprised to see him nonchalantly coming up to the line and just kind of handing it off. I keep waiting on a passing play. I'm just not seeing it.
We know how this offense can light it up. There's another run, and Scott Johnson gets 2 yards on back-to-back plays. To me, it's kind of like an inverted script. We saw them run that hurry up to, decent effect before Price threw the pick in the first quarter on their first drive, instead of, maybe establishing the run game like they're doing here. But here we are in the fourth quarter, down 17. Where's the hurry up? This would be a great time for it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, the time is now. You're not going to get another chance at this, possibly.
Here they go. Price deep pass, and reaching up to make the catch is Prince Wonder. And you said it earlier, but Vegas may have found a diamond in the rough. He's a first-round pick, so you expect a lot, but welcome to the playoffs. As a rookie, he's been huge.
He has been huge, and it's obvious that for Las Vegas, they just decided to zero in on him as the go-to for the game plan today. He's done a nice job. He just hasn't had a lot of help.
First down, they'll run it again. That is Johnson again on the carry, and a gain of about 3. And Wonder had a good year offensively. I mean, he had over 500 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns, and today 8 catches for 85 yards. He's Vegas's leading receiver.
And you know what's interesting? Tim, and I'll make this point real quick. We saw hurry up to start this game, but we've not seen it really since out of Vegas. Right now, you would expect to see it.
From the 41, Price hit again, able to get the ball out just barely, and down after the hits is Frank Stackhouse. Oh, man.
Oh, you hate to see it. You just hate to see it. Maybe we can get a look at the replay here and see what happens. Just looks like he just come down awkward after getting that hit right there on that shoulder, that arm area right there. Hopefully, it's nothing serious. And if I'm London, I just would take him out for the rest of this game if he will allow it, and try to get him recuperated.
So remember, we saw Vegas lose a defensive lineman earlier in this game, Sam Yeager. I don't know if he's back yet. Third down for Price. Another first down catch by Prince Wonder. He has been a third down machine, and really a first down machine. Feels like almost all of his catches, that's 9 now, have been able to move the sticks.
Yeah, and he really has become the boy wonder, hasn't he? I guess you'd say Prince the boy wonder. He's done a great job today. I mean, like I said, the score may not be going their way, at least right now, but he's come up with some big plays.
8 minutes left in regulation. Vegas still down by 17. Here's the run. Johnson, running room for Scott Johnson. Best run of the game for Vegas. Good for 17, and the Fury are in the red zone.
That's exactly right. They certainly are. Now, if I was coaching what I do, I would hurry up to the line. I would be calling hurry up right now instead of letting some precious moments tick away. I certainly understand that everybody has their own decisions about how they want to handle things. But man, I want to preserve just as much time as I possibly can.
Johnson had 19 rushing yards in the game before that carry. Now he's got 17 on that total alone. 7.5 left in regulation. Price hit as he throws, swatted right at the goal line. Hit by Anthony Wayo. Tony Roberto was there as well. What a big game he's had. And Vegas will have the chance to think about things.
Yeah, I have to admit, I agree with that play call there, taking a shot to the end zone. I mean, obviously, thankfully for poor Las Vegas and their teams and fans right there, they're going to get a chance to go at it again. That could have easily been intercepted. But again, you do want to stay calm in this situation and not panic. But indeed, you need to take some shots, especially while you have them.
2 backs and 2 wides for Price. Look what it is. It's the first target and the first catch for Doug Britton. He's hit immediately by Emmanuel Blackman, limiting him to just a gain of 3. So maybe that's part of it. Blackman has been a good cover corner for Vegas for London for the last couple of seasons. That's the first time the Britton's able to beat him, and he's still only able to get 3. So another third down for Vegas now from the 11. Price to throw again. Sidearm sling, end zone. It's caught. Prince Wonder has his 10th catch and his first career postseason touchdown. The Fury are still rolling.
Yep, there they go. I mean, just when you talk about them maybe getting down and out, they come right back down the field. That's two very important drives that we saw them put together. We saw the one right before halftime, and then we saw this drive right here. Obviously, they're doing what works for them, trying to keep the game plan that allows them to move down the field as good as possible. This is going to make it, with the extra point attempt, a 10-point game here. And, boy, you got to start thinking, is it too early for an onside? What do you think, Tim?
I was wondering the same thing. I mean, we've seen teams roll the dice in this league early on. I mean, I personally think it's way too early. Vegas just proved that they can score as Rage hits the PAT. They have not shown that consistently in this game, but they have shown it consistently this season. They are 6th in the league in points per game at 30.3, which, ironically enough, is the 3rd time in the last 4 seasons that they have finished 6th in the league in points per game, so right where they're used to. So they've shown this season that they can score. They were able to score and move the ball against London when these two teams met up in week 3. So I think you got to kick it and trust your defense to make a stop.
Yep, you there 100%. A good thought-provoking question, certainly, of course. But I'm like you, and of course we know the game Las Vegas has played very, very conservative. And that's okay. I think in this spot right here, you just hope that your defense can come up with a big play and get the ball back. We do know that London has that ball. They've been able to move up and down the field almost effortlessly in this game today. Can they take the clock down? This is what they're going to try to do, run as much clock out as possible here.
Merrill will run it, stretching it out left side, and Robert Merrill gets a first down on one play. How about moving the ball, moving the clock?
Yeah, that's exactly what we were thinking about. I mean, again, that is one of the reasons why I brought up the onside kick. I know that's probably a far-fetched idea and probably something I wouldn't even do myself if I were coaching. But, boy, you think about giving this ball back to this team that's just – they took the ball, and, man, they have run with it. No pun intended, but they really have. They've done such a good job of draining the clock. It makes you wonder, will Vegas even get a chance to get this ball back?
Feels like Robert Merrill hasn't even had a superlative game. He's had a good game, don't get me wrong, but he's still got 150 total yards of offense, and it feels like he hasn't really even gone off yet. They will go out to him again, and he's going to lose some of those yards. Great hit by Merrick Itera and a loss of 2.
Yeah, indeed, Itera coming up there. He's been busy. 4 tackles, 1 for a loss. We've called his name a couple of times. There are certainly some people on this Las Vegas defense that does need to be commended because they have come up with some big stops. 27 points for London, not as high as we've seen them get. So Vegas has been able to do some things and stop them.
No doubt, well below their average. Pickler looking to throw and somehow threads it in again. What a throw from Pickler. Terrence Weary makes the catch, his 2nd of the game. First down, London. What a throw from Johnny Pickler.
Yeah, I don't even know how that happened. What a throw by Pickler. I thought right there that was going to get swatted or maybe even intercepted or run back, but no, instead able to get that to Weary. That was just a nice job and a good job of Pickler standing in there, making a throw that he knew his receiver could come up with.
Since London took the plunge and invested in Johnny Pickler a few seasons ago, that investment has paid off and then some as Merrill gets decked by Itera. It is Merrill for a loss of 2 by Itera for the 2nd time in 3 plays. Since Johnny Pickler has been the quarterback for London, London's offense has been top 6 in the league in points per game and yards per game. Season 19, they were number 2 in both, and here in season 20, they're number 1 in both. He has taken this team to new heights offensively, helped by his supporting cast. Pickler throws back for Vin Calia. That's his first catch in a while, and a gain of about 5, and that's it for Frank Stackhouse. He is done for the game. The defensive lineman for London is out for the final 4+.
Yeah, you hate to see that. You hate to see anybody come up with an injury, but, if you're Stackhouse, and I'm the coach, like you said right there, just let them finish out this game there and get recuperated and ready for the next one. That may be around the corner here in about 4 minutes to go. We'll see who advances.
London's going to need him if they do move on, because if they do move on, they'll play Baltimore in the quarterfinals next week. Merrill on 3rd down gets the give. Interesting choice there, KD. It's A.K. Jones with the stop. On 3rd and 7, they run it. Merrill gets him 5, but now a decision here for London.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm kind of surprised there. I expected them not so much to go with maybe anything really death defying. I mean, I expected to be kind of conservative there, but nevertheless, I kind of expected a pass, and they just come up short. So Vegas is going to get a chance at it again.
Shane O'Donnell will punt it again. This will stop the scoring stretch for London, and wisely O'Donnell will take as long as he can. Britton ready for this return. And not much doing on the return for Doug Britton, who's really continued to have been bottled up in this game for Las Vegas. I mean, it's the playoffs. The stakes are clear. Win in advance, lose, and your season is done. If London wins, we know what all the seedings will look like as well, regardless of which team wins. If London, the number 6 seed, wins, they will play number 4 Baltimore in Baltimore next week in the quarterfinal round. They have not played in the last 2 seasons, so that would be an interesting matchup. And if Vegas, the number 11 seed, wins, they will play number 2 seed Arizona and match up for the 3rd time this season alone. Price has to do a lot to make that happen. Throws on the run, and it's dropped on the run by Scott Johnson, running back deep outs, and he can't haul it in. It's 2nd down.
Yeah, that's a big one, man. You can't afford to drop that one, especially when you have it right there in your hands. There's not many options or opportunities, rather, that you're going to get to be able to be that wide open, to be able to make that reception, and that one had to sting a little bit.
Tough. It's not a place you see Scott Johnson often. He's used to catching the ball. He's done a lot over his career. Figured they might go to him there. It's Blades, though, on the catch instead. First catch for John Blades in the second half. The former wide receiver has a gain of 12, and here is the hurry up for the Fury.
Oh, yeah, we expected it.
Price gets taken down. I don't know if they'll consider that a sack. He looked like he was moving up. If it is, it's the first sack for London against the team that gave up the most in the league. As Price gets hit again, just barely able to get the ball away. Remember, London is now down Frank Stackhouse, so it was Selwyn Lane that makes the first hit. It's Cam Frosby who made that one, and it's 3rd and 11.
Yeah, 3rd and 11, just like that. That's one thing you live and die by. If you go hurry up, it's very easy. If you get into a good set of things, you're making completions, things are working, moving down the field, that's great. But when you have 2 back-to-back plays that stalled like that, all of a sudden it's 3rd down, and you got to make something happen.
That will be the first sack of the game for London. They sacked Price 5 times when these 2 teams matched up earlier this year. Make it a double. 2nd sack of this possession by the London defense. Selwyn Lane has them both, and it's 4th down and forever for Vegas, down by 10.
And look at this. Watch this. It would not be denied. I mean, just literally shoving his way through there. And that was a big-time play, and as we'd expect, Vegas has to go for it.
Got to go for it. Longest 4th down that either team has had to weather so far in this game. Can the Fury come up aces? Britton's going short. Price is going long, looking for Kirby. Contact on the route. Price's throw sails high. It's a turnover on downs, and Johnny Pickler will take the field again.
And Pickler has to be feeling so good about this. I mean, victory is really now in sight. It's almost there. I mean, if you can get another 1st down out of this, you can pretty much call this game over. Yeah, no defensive pass interference on that. I've seen some people in the chat talking about it. Instead, this ball gets turned over, and London just has to ride out another 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and they're on their way.
Here's Merrill. We know what he can do. And rallying to the tackle is Shawn Allen to help stop Merrill as we approach the 2-minute warning. London does not have to snap it again, KD. If Vegas is able to hold London to a field goal, they still have a dying chance, but a bunch of 1st downs or a touchdown, and this game feels over.
That's exactly right. And, boy, they've got the weapons to go ahead and just seal the deal if they can. I would expect a healthy dose of Merrill right here. I mean, we could see him go to the air. But they sure have, Merrill in the backfield playing good. I think you take a chance and let him try to ground it out.
2 minutes left in regulation. 2 minutes separates London from another spot in the quarterfinals. This is the SFL Wildcard Round presented by APM Music, live on YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Tim Hackett, Cameron Duty, Justin Reside, Zach Haldorf, and Cameron Irvine are your crew. London with a 10-point lead, trying to ice it at home. Merrill gets the run. A.K. Jones gets the pressure and gets the TFL. Remember, Vegas lost a timeout earlier in this half by going for the SFL bait and switch and calling a timeout on 4th and short, so they have only 1 remaining.
And that's going to come back to haunt them That's for sure here. It could potentially either way. I mean, whether or not they come up with the big stop here or get the ball back, that's not a lot of opportunities to stop this clock. And right here, this could be the play of the game if London makes the first down out of this.
From the 21, London will empty it out. Pickler's had a brilliant day. He will go for the end zone, and it's caught. Touchdown, Fox High Winds with the late hits on top of it, to be sure. 4th touchdown for Johnny Pickler. Let's see the call. Yes, late hits against Las Vegas and Chris Magel. 4th passing touchdown for Johnny Pickler, and it's going to be a playoff win for the London Knights.
That right there is coffin nails. And take a look at this replay again, just wide open on that. You know, coverage has been an issue for this entire game for Las Vegas. They've certainly done a good job of, trying to jam some of the receivers at the line, but they have been burnt on too many times. And right there, that was really just a display of muscle by London, with Pickler and them just lining up to heave it down there and see what happens. As we've said, they've got the weapons, and right now you can say it with pretty much 100% certainty. They're a team to be worried about as we head into the farther depths of this postseason.
This is season 20 of the Simulation Football League. The London Knights franchise has been around since season 10, and for the early days of this franchise, they were a laughingstock. They were an afterthought, whatever word you want to use. They had never had a winning season before Johnny Pickler came here. They had only been 500 once. His first season, they go 500 at 6-6. They make the playoffs for the first time. They had never been to the playoffs before Pickler. They had never had a winning season. So far now with Pickler, they've been to the playoffs all 4 seasons. They've had a winning record now the last 3, and they're going to have a postseason win for the last 3. The question now for London is, can they get over the hump and win a second round game, win a second playoff game, I should say. They were in the semifinals last year, of course, won in the quarterfinals. That was their only win as the number 1 seed. So can they string postseason wins together is now the question. But for the time being, for the second time this season, London leads Vegas by 17 late on. Is there any chance of a comeback and a high roll for the team from Las Vegas? Price for Johnson. Accelerates, spins a couple of times, and gets 8. It's now or never for the Fury.
Yeah, and we'll see him go to that no huddle, try to get something out of it. It seems to me like there just was never a big threat downfield. We saw him go sideline to sideline more often than down the field, and that seems to be the way that they feel they can get down the field best.
And Price is going to get down to the field. 3rd sack of the 4th quarter for London. They're down a starter on the defensive line, and it hasn't mattered.
No, this defense has gotten even more impressive as this game has went on. I mean, they have, as you said, defensive man down, next man up mentality, and that's exactly what it's been for London. That's why I do think they're so dangerous. Like you said, we're ready to see if they can get over the hump. I do feel like this offense is primed to do it, but let's say, hey, this defense right now, the way that they're playing, man, they're going to be a concern too.
Some backups are in. That was Bobby Woodson on the hit. Doug Britton has his 2nd catch of this game, 2nd catch of the 4th quarter, and it'll be 4th and 2. I mean, Vegas has to go for it.
That's got to be the big question in my mind, and I think anybody's mind who is invested in Las Vegas, is why not more of Doug Britton in this game? It's just going to be something that I think is going to leave a big question mark heading into the offseason.
There's no question that's going to be a stone that has been unturned in this game. Price sets up, and down he goes once again. Vegas allowed the most sacks in the league, 4.5 per game. They have now allowed 4 in the 4th quarter.
You know, he's just kind of holding on to the ball a little too long, trying to make something happen, not wanting to throw it away, and just trying to wait to see if somebody can make a break and get open. Unfortunately not. You know, it's kind of interesting, as we said, Cameron Irvine kind of, made that point there as producer earlier in this game. Maybe the reason we were seeing a much more controlled, reserved offense was because they were trying to protect him. Now, look and see what happens. They start trying to go down the field. They try to open up the passing lanes a little bit, and then all of a sudden you see that defensive line begin to overtake that offensive line. So maybe that does have a lot to do with it. Just too much right now for this Vegas offense to really compete with at that level. I think that's something you'll see in the offseason, Tim. I think you'll start seeing that offensive line try to rebuild, get a little bit stronger. They've got weapons there. Let's give them credit. They made it to this postseason. They just need to kind of stack some other blocks together.
And to your point, how about the performance from this London defense? They gave up the 4th most points and the 4th most yards in the regular season. They were one of the worst statistical defenses in the league, allowing nearly 30 points per game. Today, they only allow 17. They shut down this high-flying Vegas offense. And for the second time this season, London defeats Las Vegas by 17 points. A postseason win for Johnny Pickler and Liam Crowder and the London Knights for the 3rd straight season. And the Knights march on to the quarterfinals. We will get London versus Baltimore for the first time in a couple of seasons in the quarterfinal round as the Knights take care of the Fury 34-17.
Now we'll get your popcorn ready for that one, right? That'll be good. London and Baltimore. It's going to be so exciting. I mean, it's going to be definitely a game to highlight on your calendar there. But again, just some final points to wrap it up. Let's say, hey, a great job by Vegas again getting to this point. Let's not forget what it does take to get to the postseason in the Simulation Football League. This is a highly competitive league. I've had a pleasure of getting to know all these teams and these players and just the love that everybody has for this league and the love for playing football. Vegas did a great job getting to this point, and they've got some great weapons out there that they can continue to build on. For London now, I think you've got to give the player of the game. I'm going to go with Pickler. It could have been Merrill, but I'm going to go with Pickler for some incredible play calling. And I have to say that, watch out Baltimore. That's going to be a game that's going to be highly impressive, Tim. So excited to see it because of what we have seen today out of London. Yeah, the record not as good as the season prior, but boy, they showed up in a big way and really, in my opinion, made a name for themselves this evening.
This was a clinical performance on all fronts from London, no question about it. The offense looked great. The defense was sensational. Eric Price didn't even play poorly, but London shut down this team when it mattered most. And Johnny Pickler, we talked about his postseason woes, perfect today. 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Highwood and Callia both over 100 yards. Merrill close to 150. And this London offense, the whole team really looks legit as they get ready to take on Baltimore in the quarterfinals next weekend. One more game still to come here in Wild Card weekend. Chad Rowland and Josh Circle have the call from North Carolina. It's the Skyhawks against the Tulsa Desperados at 9 p.m. Eastern. Until then, we'll see you then. For all of us here at London, alongside Cameron Duty, I've been Tim Hackett. Thanks to Justin Reside and Zach Holdorf. You two guys are stellar. Katie, you've been stellar this season as well. Welcome to our team. Congratulations on all your success. And thank you to Cameron Irvine as well. It's been a pleasure being part of the SFL again this year. We'll see you next time. One more game still to come. Hope you join us for that. London into the quarterfinals once again. We'll see you next time. Until then.